Welcome to the How-To series. The topic for this how-to is dealing with changes. Children with ASD thrive in a routine environment. If you are raising a child with ASD, you already know that your child may prefer a very predictable life. This might include using the same cup and plate for meals, eating the same types of food every day, doing tasks in a certain way, and having a very similar schedule day in and day out. However, life is not always routine and predictable. The unexpected can happen at any moment, and your child with ASD may have difficulty handling these changes. Right now, families across the nation are dealing with massive amounts of change due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. Your child may be experiencing a significant amount of stress and anxiety simply because their routine is very different right now. While we cannot control what happens with the virus, we can support the child's needs for routines and predictability. Let's talk about how to do that. It may be helpful to provide your child with information about all the sudden changes in their lives. However, just telling a child with ASD about what is happening is generally not enough. Many children with ASD have challenges with auditory processing or receptive communication. This means that they may have difficulty understanding what is being said to them, and information may go in one ear and out the other. In order to help children with ASD understand something important, we often use some sort of visual support. This means that we simply show them what we mean when we explain something. This is because many children with ASD have strengths in visual processing. In other words, if they can see it, they may understand it better than just simply hearing it. Since only sitting down and talking to your child will not be enough, how do you realistically talk and show during this difficult time? There are actually lots of ways to do this. It will be important, though, to use pictures or graphics as well as words in your visual supports. First, we can make a social narrative or a very short story about a topic. We can also make a very quick and simple PowerPoint presentation to show a child information while we talk about it. We can also use a visual schedule to show a child what their day will look like for right now. We can also use a calendar to show the big picture, choice boards to provide some control over their day, and something called comic strip conversations to help guide a child through more powerful emotions, thoughts, and feelings in a concrete manner. All of these supports will help a child feel calmer and more in control of this challenging situation. Let's go over some examples of these different visual supports in more detail so you know how to show children what is happening and help them cope with the changes. Let's start with a social narrative as an example of how to explain and show a child what COVID-19 changes are occurring. Social narratives are a helpful way to explain changes that have happened or changes that may be coming in the future. In a social narrative, you can use both words and pictures to describe the change and present suggestions about how the child can learn to understand and deal with these changes. It is important to keep a social narrative simple and to the point. Here's an example of a social narrative that explains the coronavirus and how it has changed the way our day looks and why. My COVID-19 story. The world is experiencing a pandemic. Pandemics are caused by diseases that spread from person to person. A pandemic means many people could get sick. This sickness is called COVID-19. To keep everyone safe, you will be at home a lot. Everyone in your town is also staying home. There is no school right now. There are things you can do at home. it is very important to wash your hands. It's okay to be unhappy or worried. Your family can help you feel better. You can download the social narrative on the VCU-ACE website under our COVID-19 resources. What if you have an older child and want to work on something together? A great way to do that is with PowerPoint. Some children with ASD have strong technical and computer skills, and this is a way to include those strengths in working together to handle major changes. This is a great activity that will help the child describe their feelings and worries, and you can constantly add new ideas for coping with the difficulties of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's the great thing about making a PowerPoint. It's easy to add more information or to change and update as new things happen. You'll want to use accurate information in your PowerPoint, so be sure to check out websites like the Centers for Disease Control at cdc.gov. Visual schedules are always helpful for individuals with ASD, even when the world is not facing a pandemic. A visual schedule helps show the child what to expect throughout the day. The challenge to using a schedule right now is that it will be very different from, say, a schedule where mom and dad go to work and the child goes to school. On one hand, you may have to teach the schedule change by using visual supports and visual reminders that the schedule is different right now. And on the other hand, you have to show the child what the new schedule will look like. This is an example of a simple schedule a family might use with a child that shows different activities throughout the day. You can always add more detail if needed. Just remember to use pictures and words and include the time, even if your child isn't reading yet. Using a calendar may also be helpful for your child. Calendars can help children see the big picture rather than just day to day or week to week. You can work together with your child to fill out the calendar with pictures or words or both so that your child can see when important events are coming up. The problem with using a calendar right now is that we do not know when our schedules will return to normal. However, you can work with your child to mark off days that have happened, and you can still find other activities at home that the child is looking forward to, such as a movie on Friday night or a special meal happening on the weekend. Schedule a specific time to look at the calendar with your child so that they can see time progressing, and it allows them to have some input on events or activities that they might want to add. Visual choice boards are a great way to offer your child some control over what's happening during the day. Everyone feels more anxious when we are not in control of what is happening. This is especially true for children, and it is really, really true for children with ASD. A choice board can be used throughout the day to give your child some control over their life. You can make a choice board for just about anything. Some examples might include choosing between milk or juice, or choosing what to eat for breakfast, or maybe which chores to complete first, or what order to complete any homework. Be sure to make any choices into a visual support so that the child understands what they can choose between. If you do not have a visual, you can always simply hold up a gallon of milk in one hand and the carton of juice in the other. You can also use labels cut from boxes of favorite items or photos that you have taken. Remember to explain that if an item is not on the choice board, then it is not available at that time. Another way to support your child through this unpredictable time would be to use comic strip conversations. A comic strip conversation is really just what it sounds like. We can make a visual support that looks like a comic strip and has a conversation between characters that explains big topics, important feelings, or more complex thoughts. You can ask your child to tell you what they are experiencing, understanding, or feeling about the changes in their lives, and you can fill out the boxes with simple stick figure drawings to represent each item, or you can use graphics. You can also let your child fill in the comic strip boxes with their own pictures. This is a good way to make their feelings and stresses more concrete visually, and to work toward providing them with ideas on ways that they can use to manage their stress. You can keep the comic strips in a binder or notebook and review them with your child so that they can be reminded of the different ways that they can be supported. Let's look at an example of a comic strip conversation that VCU-ACE has made to help children understand what is happening surrounding COVID-19. You can get a copy of this comic strip conversation by going to the VCU-ACE website at www.vcuautismcenter.org, where you can watch or print out and use the My Life with COVID-19 comic with your child. As you use these ideas to support your child, you will begin to see evidence of coping skills and flexibility. Be sure to reward your child when they use one of these strategies and copes well with the changes and unexpected events that we are all experiencing. It is important to reinforce even small acts of flexibility as they occur. Make a list of items and activities that your child enjoys and use these as rewards for flexible behavior. For more information about using reinforcement and other topics, be sure to check out our other how-to videos on the VCU-ACE website, as well as other printables and resources that we have.